Unit 4, linear and absolute value functions, question number 5. So question number 5 wants us to again interpret a linear context, but this time we don't have a graph, we only have the question. So it says, at the beginning of spring, London planted a small sunflower in her backyard. The flower's height in inches h after W weeks is given by the equation right here. So this equation looks like what? Y equals mx plus b, where the y is the total, m is the slope, and b is the y-intercept or the initial value. Okay? So in this case, the 4 is the slope, 15 is the y-intercept. Alright? So again, this is the slope, this is the y-intercept. Okay? So it says, what could the number 4 represent? So well, the 4 represents slope, and slope is how it changes, it's a rate of change. So it says the change in the sunflower's height every one additional week. I would agree with that because again, it is the change, the rate of change. Okay, let's try another one. So this one says an elevator travels down from the top of the floor of a skyscraper. Its height in feet is given by the equation h equals that. Okay, where h represents the elevator's height in feet and t represents the time in seconds. What could the number 1,300 represent? Okay, so again, this still looks like y equals mx plus b. Even though it's rearranged, this 130 is the y-intercept, it's a constant, it's a number that doesn't have the variable attached to it. And this negative 23 is the slope, okay? That's the one that the variable is normally attached to, okay? So in this case, what does the 130 represent? Well, that would be the height of the elevator before it started to go down. So, the height of the elevator starts at, because that's what the 130 would be, where it started at. Okay. So for this one, it says at the beginning of a spring, Natchel planted a small sunflower in her backyard. The flower height is given in the inches. After W weeks is given by the equation. What could the 20 represent? The 20 would be the y-intercept, so that's what it started at. Okay, so it's a height when it was planted. So this one says Carlos, math teacher, finds that there is roughly a linear relationship between the amount of time students spend on their homework and their weekly quiz score. This relationship can be represented by the equation BAM, where y represents the expected quiz score and x represents the number of hours on homework that week. What is the meaning of the y value when x equals 1? So what we're going to do is I'm going to substitute when x is 1, and we were told that x represents the number of hours spent on homework. So what we're stating here is that if we substitute 1 right here, which would represent 1 hour on homework, okay, I would get 7.7 or 7.3 parentheses 1 plus 61. So that would be 7 plus 61, which is 68. Okay. So for every 1 hour of homework, they'll get a result of 68 on the quiz. So what does the x represent? So the change in expected score for every additional 1 hour spent on doing your homework. And school expected score would have been the 68. So I think this is the one. No? So students expected score they spend 1 hour on their homework. Oh no! Oh yes, it does. It does say what's the y value when x is 1. So the y value, so it would have actually been this because I didn't read the question properly. It said what's the y value when it's expected to do that. So here we're trying to figure what 11 represent. 11 will represent the slope, okay, and then it would essentially talk about how it's changing, okay. So how long it takes for the elevator to reach the ground, no, the elevator's height after 1 second. How quickly the elevator descends, that would be that one. Okay, so I'll do one last one. So it says there's roughly a relationship between the length of someone's femur, how long the leg bone in your thighs, and the expected height within a certain criteria population. This relationship can be expressed using the formula BAM, where h is represented by the expected height in centimeters and f represents the length of this femur in centimeters. What's the value of the f value when h is 170? So it says h is 170, so if I replace h right here with 170, okay, okay, what will my result be? Okay, what will my result be? Well, I'll try to solve for f. Okay, so I can be able to find what f is by subtracting 56.7, subtracting 56.7. So that would be, that's a, oh wait. So 170 minus 56.7. So 170 minus 56.7. So that'll be 113.3 equal to 2.3f. So then I divide by 2.3, divide by 2.3, and I get, oh, that looks weird. 1,000 or 170 minus 56.7, and then divide by 2.7, not 2.3. .37. Okay, I did get a weird number. Okay, so I got 47.8. Okay, so this would be, so the f value is 47, or no, well, yeah, the f value is 47.8, so that would have been, f represents the length of the femur, so it would be 40.78 inches for the femur. So the femur length for someone with the expected height of that. Okay, I agree with this. No? So expected height for someone with a femur length of 1 cm. Oh. That's what it is. No? So it would be the length of a femur. Yeah, you're right. It's the length of a femur. Alright guys, so again, just like that.